Thanks, Clive. Hello, I'm Jennifer Jones with the headlines in Wales. The Welsh Rugby Union considers halving the number of regions from 4 to 2. It says the current setup isn't delivering, but there are concerns about the potential impact.
Going down to 2 would just be a real symbolic moment of how low Welsh rugby has got.
The WRU says it'll lead to a restructure by the 2027-28 season and want the more radical strategy decided by October. Also in the programme tonight. Work officially begins on a new electric arc furnace in Talbot. We get reaction to the prospect of greener steelmaking in the town.
I think a lot of people are quite positive about it.
The town is much cleaner now and we're not getting the dust in our garden like we used to get.
They're out of their first major tournament, but there's pride despite the defeat. We ask how Wales's women can build on their performance at the Euros.
That's it, all the way around.
And at only 3 years old, Caitlin has qualified for next year's crafts with her dog Ziva, becoming one of the show's youngest ever competitors. Good evening, Noswaith Dda. The Welsh Rugby Union is considering halving the number of regions in Wales as part of a new domestic structure. Cardiff, Dragons, Ospreys and Scarlets are the 4 current sides. The WRU says it wants a more radical strategy to be completed by October and to be introduced by the 2027-28 season. In a statement this afternoon, the WRU said the current system is failing and unsustainable. With the latest, here's Matt Murray.
The annual Judgment Day in Cardiff brings the 4 Welsh teams and 2 derbies at one venue. It's seen as an event to showcase Welsh rugby at the Principality Stadium. But half the teams taking place this year could go, in a new plan from the WRU. They are considering reducing the 4 regional sides. The current setup with the Scarlets, the Ospreys, Cardiff and the Dragons could see 1 or even 2 teams scrapped, with the Welsh Rugby Union saying it wants to ensure Wales have teams who can compete at the top of the game. The current professional rugby agreement that underpins the game in Wales finishes in 2027. The WRU and the regions have so far failed to get a new agreement signed.
There's certainly a fear down in West Wales that they won't be treated equally as, say, Cardiff or the Dragons. The Dragons have also signed the new deal. I think that's where, at the heart of it. And also, the relationship is just broken down now. It appears that the relationship between the Ospreys and Scarlets with the WRU has just hit a new low point. They're barely talking.
Today's announcement also comes after the men's side has suffered its worst season. It brought a total losing run of 18 matches that only ended at the weekend with victory in the second summer test against Japan. In a statement, the WRU said the current rugby system in Wales, which includes national teams, professional clubs, community clubs, academies, universities and schools, isn't delivering consistent success on the field and isn't currently financially sustainable. The WRU is therefore considering a more radical strategy focused on maximising investment and reforming the whole structure of professional rugby in Wales.
We're back to the drawing board. Again, more uncertainty, more instability, more reviews, more consultations. And what the game needs more than anything at the moment is stability. And for me, if they're going to make the cut, they've got to just come forward. They've got to give us some strong leadership and make it.
Apart from a reduction from 3 or 2 regional men's teams to make the union financially sustainable, other key potential developments to be consulted on include further investment in the semi-professional Super Rugby Cymru, significant investment in player development and pathways, and a national centre providing development for elite players, coaches and staff. But this once again brings more drama off the pitch rather than on it for the game in Wales.
That was Matt Murray reporting. Now, it's been nearly 10 months since the traditional way of making steel in Port Talbot came to an end with the closure of Tata's last blast furnace. 2,800 jobs were lost, and a bitter blow for a community that has been entwined in the steel industry for decades. The promise? A cleaner, greener future with a new electric arc furnace designed to reduce the site's carbon emissions by about 90%. Well, today building work officially began and our political correspondent Daniel Davis is in Port Talbot for us. Dan.
After so many twists and turns in the story of Port Talbot, there was relief last year when a deal was announced between the owners, Tata, and the UK government. Today, there was an occasion designed to show that there is a future for this vast steel-making site, albeit one with fewer jobs. A bittersweet moment, according to one of the unions involved. The moment this company and the politicians wanted. Shovels in the ground, or at least a ceremonial box of earth, to show Port Talbot remains a steel town. The real work is well underway. It's a major investment with £500 million from the UK government. Tata is obviously a very big company, a very big group. Can you explain to our viewers why you needed the British taxpayer, the UK government, to contribute to the work here? Why isn't Tata able to fund that itself?
See, this project, as you know, is as a result of years of losses that we have incurred here. The significant investment that we made here in 2007-2008 and has been pretty much wiped out. And years this plant has not been competitive enough. So we needed to redo this whole project and the business case had to be met. So while we are putting a lot of money, we needed some additional funding to be able to make the business case.
The older, heavily polluting way of making steel has gone. With it, so have thousands of jobs. But the government says a community that has relied on this industry for generations now has certainty. There will be people here in a town with 100 years of history of making steel thinking, oh, this is what the green transition looks like, is it? Thousands of people losing well-paid jobs.
Well, we know that the blast furnaces were old, there hadn't been investment for a long time that would have sustained them over any period of time, and we know that electric arc furnaces are much more productive. You actually have a chance of making an industry work with an electric arc furnace. That's what we're going to do here because we want to secure the future of the steel industry. We don't want to see it continue to decline.
It is a bittersweet day, no question about that, coming so soon as it does after the closure of the blast furnaces and all the associated job losses. But what's really important now is that the future for Port Talbot steelmaking is being secured, and we now need to look forward to the future. We need to rebuild.
This is what is coming, an electric arc furnace. By 2027, it will be melting scrap metal to create new steel. It'll mean a huge reduction in climate-harming emissions from Port Talbot. The last blast furnaces closed last September. No more of those familiar plumes bellowing from the chimney. A welcome change for some of those we spoke to in town today.
The air's a bit clearer, you know, since the place is shut. But I think it was the worry of the jobs for everybody, you know.
The town is much cleaner now and we're not getting the dust in our garden like we used to get. So I'm quite happy about it.
It's obviously a shame that so many people have had to lose their jobs from it, but hopefully they'll be able to build on something for the future.
Well, it's been a very difficult time for the area, but obviously I hope now that they can see that there is a sense of confidence, significant investment going in.
It's a historic growth.
This was a symbolic day for a steelworks that has had its fair share of ups and downs, but challenges for the industry remain. And those challenges include energy prices, an ongoing challenge for this industry, competition from other markets, and tariffs. The Trump administration has slapped a 25% import tax on steel going from the UK to the US. The UK government is negotiating with the US government to bring that down to 10%, but no announcement on that yet, nor a timetable that the government ministers I spoke to today could give us, Jen.
Dan, thank you. That's Daniel Davis, our political correspondent there. The jury in the trial of grandparents accused of murdering their 2-year-old grandson have been sent out to consider their verdict. Ethan Ives Griffiths from Garden City in Flintshire died in August 2021 after suffering a head injury. Ethan's grandfather, Michael Ives, and grandmother, Kerry Ives, both deny murder. They, along with their daughter, Sharon Ives, also deny causing or allowing his death and child cruelty. A former Conservative MP has been sentenced to a 12-month community order and ordered to pay a £1,264 fine after admitting harassing her ex-wife. Jamie Wallace, who is now known as Katie Wallace and uses female pronouns, represented Bridgend from 2019 to 2024. A year-long restraining order was also imposed to prevent contact with ex-wife Rebecca Lovell. Now, the use of the drug ketamine has been described by one expert as an emerging epidemic with more and more calls for help, especially from young people. One former user now says he wants to help others overcome their own addiction to the drug by setting up a support group on Anglesey. George Hurd has been to meet him.
In his early 20s, and Ethan Humphrey's body was being wrecked by using the drug ketamine. It's had long-lasting effects on his health.
Walking in pain, I lost a lot of weight. I went from down to, I weigh 10.5 stone now. I'd probably say I was just over 7 stone at one point. So it just strips you really, in some sense, like strips you down to your bone. My kidneys and my liver function stopped working properly. I was rushed into hospital in 2022 and had to get 2 stents fitted. Luckily enough, the stents have got removed now, but I still struggle with kidney pain on a day-to-day basis.
But it's not just the physical impacts of the drugs. It's left Ethan with other scars.
The depression side of it just took over in the end. It was just, I didn't want to live. Honestly, I couldn't recognise the person I was in the end. I knew that I had to make a change.
Ketamine was developed as an anaesthetic for animals, but found favour in dance clubs, replacing ecstasy and soon flooding the streets. It's a Class B drug, so remains illegal to use or sell and comes with some serious health risks. This year it claimed the life of drag artist and Welsh TV celebrity The Vivian, who died in January from cardiac arrest due to ketamine. So it comes as no surprise then to those working in the field to hear about Ethan's story, including one woman who's been working with the family of the Vivian to raise awareness around ketamine dangers.
I would say that we are on the verge of a ketamine emerging epidemic with children and young people with ketamine. It's appeared on the scene, party drug, readily available. We see the referrals increasing, but more importantly, we see people coming forward that are under the age of 18 as well.
After being clean for over 6 months, Ethan's passion is now to help others back in his hometown of Holyhead, setting up a ketamine support group with the backing of a local cafe owner.
Anyone who's struggling or having any issues or needs to get something off their chest, it's going to be a meeting where we can just speak and just freely of what they've done through the week, just get stuff off your chest basically, and just know that there is a way out of there. I'm trying to show that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Ethan says he now has his life back, and after rehab he's been able to rebuild broken relationships with his mother and father and brother and sister. He says he hopes he can now help others overcome this emerging ketamine crisis.
And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised in this story, you can find information and support on the BBC's Action Line website. You're watching Wales Today, still to come before 7. This is 3-year-old Caitlin and dog Ziva at a recent dog show. Well, now she's qualified for Crufts, becoming one of their youngest ever competitors.
And we've just had our hottest weekend of the year, 33.1 Celsius recorded in Cardiff, but the heat wave has come to an end. A fresher feel with rain on the way. A full forecast in a few minutes.
Well, Wales may be making their way home from Switzerland this evening, but they're doing it with their heads held high. Their time at the Euros came to an end last night with a 6-1 defeat to England. But despite the loss, Captain Angharad James says she is proud of the players. Attention will now turn to what's next and how women's football in Wales can build from this experience. Here's Thomas David.
An emotional farewell. Their first major tournament over. And for one last time in Switzerland, the players and fans together. Their Euros adventure at an end after another comprehensive defeat. And for those who travelled, many for the first time to support the team, time to head home.
I think it's just a great experience for the team to be all together, to have that you know, European stage to perform on, and to have like the facilities, everything. It just makes them look so professional, and now it's just onwards and upwards from here.
You see the growth of the game over the last few years, and all I can say, what the women's team have done here, the legacy we're going to take home from here is 10 years' time. It'll be unbelievable, the growth of the game off the back of this.
It's been amazing. For us to get here is just amazing, and for the whole squad to be playing at this level now from where they come from originally.
Jess Fishlock scored Wales' first major tournament goal last week. Last night, she helped create one for Hannah Kane. At 38, her retirement will come one day soon. But Wales' record goal scorer says she's undecided about the future.
I don't know right now. I think that's a tough one. I need to take a little see and have a little think. But no decisions to be made. As of right now, I'm still a Welsh player.
What I've said to all my players is to just take a breath. We're right in the thick of something, and there's so much emotion. Like there were great moments, and there were really hard moments. It's not the time to look at future plans.
Wales' 3 games at their first tournament did not yield a single point. The results underline there's work to do. But this generation, who've broken new ground in getting here, hopes these Euros will be the first of many.
That's our aim now. Our aim is to qualify for major tournaments, and we should be on the big stage, and this is just one part of it, the journey, and we've learnt from this, and then hopefully in the next tournament that we qualify for, we've taken all them emotions and them experiences and learnt from them for the next one.
The challenge now for those running the game back home is to capitalise on the growing interest in women's football, and to ensure that qualifying for tournaments like this is the norm and not a one-off.
I think we're not starting from a low base on this, or even a blank piece of paper, because we already have the strategy for women and girls. But of course, qualifying for a tournament brings not just more funding, but also more opportunity to capitalise on the energy around the game and the inspiration that young girls have had, particularly to go out and play football. So it's incumbent on us now in football, whether that's at Welsh level or at European level, to make sure that the money we spend on the game creates a stronger pathway for all players, whether they're going to be the next Jess Fishlock or Has James, or whether they're just going to play for fun with their friends.
Moments like this would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. The women's game has made huge strides in getting here. The challenge now, ensure more major tournaments follow, starting with the World Cup in 2 years.
Well, with me now is Bethan Woolley, who is the Football Association of Wales' strategic lead for women and girls football. Thanks for coming in. So how will you reflect now on the past couple of weeks?
I mean, the past couple of weeks have just been immense, right? It's such a historic moment for us in Wales and women and girls football in Wales. And it's really now about how we capitalise on that moment, you know, seeing the support that we're out there in Switzerland, but also back here in Wales. How do we ensure that we sustain that? How do we move things forward? And how do we ensure we create further opportunities for the future as well?
So what is the strategy? How do you keep up the momentum now?
Yeah, so what we're looking at is a 10-year vision now. How do we move forward? How do we ensure that there is opportunities for women and girls? How do we bring in more investment, ensure that there are adequate facilities as well that are available for women and girls so that they feel comfortable? And yeah, just looking at the wider picture, professionalising the game, how do we ensure that every woman and girl has an opportunity to be involved in whatever aspect of football they wish?
So is the focus and the priority then on increasing participation? Is that the priority?
There's absolutely a priority in that area. We've got lots of priorities, but that is certainly one of them. And how do we ensure that every woman and girl has an opportunity to give football a go? And be involved in football, ensuring that we've developing our clubs, that we're providing infrastructure, the right facilities, the right investment, funding, etc., to ensure that as many women and girls can play football as possible across the country and just give it a go, really.
And how do you keep girls within the sport? Because we know that there is a drop-off, isn't there, when girls reach their teens. So how do you make it a welcoming environment for girls?
Yeah, absolutely. So historically there has been a drop-off in all sports in teenage years. How do we ensure that we continue to engage? We've done an extensive piece of research around the motivations, the barriers, etc. And we've recently launched as well a new programme, BFC, for teenage girls to give football a go, or to come back into football if they've left. And it's around how do we create that welcoming environment where girls and women feel comfortable to play, socialise, but also looking at things like ensuring that the sanitary products, locks on doors, because our facilities have been made for men. So how do we ensure that they're adequate for our girls as well? So we've done extensive research, and obviously with the launch of our new programme, we hope and our aim is to ensure that more women and girls have opportunities to play in the future.
Well, Beth and Willie, thank you so much for coming in, and please congratulate the team when they come back and you see them over the next few days. Now, have you noticed that the ingredients in cosmetics and skin products are listed in Latin? Well, one Welsh MP wants to change that. Becky Gittins, who has a severe nut allergy, is urging companies to replace the Latin with English to help people identify risk. Well, some companies do include an English translation, but it isn't a legal requirement, as Bethan James reports.
Applying the right makeup is not only a work of art, it can also be a confidence booster. But what if the very thing you use to improve your skin's health leads to an allergic reaction?
I have hypersensitive skin, and it's very frustrating when you're breaking out and you've got eczema over your face, and it's really uncomfortable. Like, some days I can't put anything on my skin because it's reacting so bad.
Girls, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but get ready with me to be interviewed for TV.
Amy is a cosmetics influencer and makeup artist. The labelling of products, says Amy, needs to be clearer, especially for allergy sufferers.
Clarity is everything, and I think knowledge is power when it comes to ingredients. It's so frustrating as a consumer when you get reactions and you've got rosacea, redness, breakouts, and that's just mild allergies. It can go quite severe to be life-threatening allergies.
There are strict rules about the naming of ingredients. The International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients, or INCI as it's known, is a standardised list of names recognised across the globe. And those names are based on Latin. For example, for sweet almond you'll find, for peanut, and for wheat. Latin names aren't helpful, says the Clwyd East MP, who has a severe nut allergy, and they were an issue during a recent spa visit.
So I'm sat there on Google typing in the Latin names of lots of these ingredients to work out, can I have them? And even on a day that's supposed to be quite relaxing, still mitigating that risk is incredibly difficult.
The cosmetics industry believes that the Latin or INCI name ensures consistency worldwide.
The more consistency and harmonisation we can have, so for example with the ingredient list, is not only great for us when we're looking at the ingredient list, when we're buying a product, when we're suffering for an allergy, but it also makes life easier for companies because there's less changes they need to make.
The Industry Association has developed an app, CosSmile, to help people interpret the Latin names. The UK government says all ingredients must be clearly labelled using generally accepted names. Those names, however, may require a few Latin lessons.
And the Crufts Dog Show is an event that welcomes competitors from all over the world, and now a 3-year-old girl from Powys will join them. Little Caitlin has qualified for the competition with a miniature schnauzer, Ziva, and she'll become one of the show's youngest competitors. Nellie Bird went to see her in action.
That's it, all the way around. This is 3-year-old Caitlin and her dog Ziva, or Zizi, best friends in and out of the ring. Who's the first person who gets a cuddle in the morning?
Me.
Every time. And why is that? Where does Zizi sleep?
With me.
She sleeps on your bed, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She snores.
Does she? Caitlin went to her first dog show when she was just a baby, an interest passed on by her mum Lydia, who shows and breeds white miniature schnauzers from their home near Brecon.
When she was 2, she started to want to come in the ring with me, and then at the age of 3, she decided she wanted to show her own dog. So I transferred Ziva over into her name, and she's been showing her ever since. It's amazing. She's so confident generally, and she works so well with the dog. She loves the dogs.
And while she may not always be tall enough to see the other competitors, that doesn't seem to matter. Here she is with Ziva at the 3 Counties Championship show last month. Second in their class means they've now qualified for Crufts, the world's largest dog show. And Caitlin will be one of the youngest ever competitors.
Winning.
You like to win, yes.
And if you win, what do you get?
What do we get?
Rosette.
Oh, and a big clap.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody claps, don't they?
And how does that feel?
Good.
I'm so proud of the way she acts as well. She acts far older than she is. She will shake hands with the judges. She will shake hands with the winners. She always congratulates everybody. She claps for everyone that wins. So I'm massively proud of the sportsmanship she's showing even at this age. Encouraging youngsters into it is going to keep our sport alive.
So when she's not in school, Caitlin and Ziva will be practising, hoping for more success at Crufts next year.
I will be keeping an eye out for Caitlin in March. OK, let's get the weather forecast. And it's definitely feeling cooler, Sue.
It is, Jen, isn't it? Yes, we've just had our hottest weekend of the year so far. The highest temperature of 33.1 Celsius recorded in Cardiff on Saturday. That made it the hottest July day for 3 years. And temperatures topped 30 Celsius somewhere in Wales every day between Thursday and Sunday. The heat wave has now come to an end, a change over the next few days, a fresher feel with rain at times, much needed for farmers and gardeners. Sunny spells too before turning warmer again towards the end of the week. Now, the pressure chart shows a weather system which brought a few showers today, followed by an area of low pressure moving in from the Atlantic overnight into tomorrow. Rain at times, winds picking up, bringing cooler air. So tonight, a few showers, drier spells, but then winds strengthen with further showers pushing in on those southwesterly winds. Longer spells of rain arriving in the northwest by dawn. Lows 12 to 14 Celsius, more comfortable than recent nights. So some early wet and windy weather, 20 to 40 millimetres possible, heavy rain moving eastwards, clearing to showers, cloud breaking to allow some brighter spells, and strong southwesterly winds, especially along exposed coasts. Temperatures high teens, 17 Celsius on Anglesey, 19 in Swansea, more than 10 degrees down on recent days. Wednesday looks drier, variable cloud, the odd shower, otherwise brighter. Temperatures in the 20s, a little warmer in the sunshine with rain in the west later. This weather system will move in from the west later in the week, bringing some rain, but high pressure will also start to push up from the south, so heat will build again later in the week. Thursday, that cloud could be thick enough for some drizzle, with brighter spells breaking through later in the day, and then that warming trend begins again. Temperatures creeping back up in the low to mid-20s. So we swap the heat wave for changeable conditions through this week. We'll see rain at times, sunshine too, but turning warmer again by the end of the week. Jen.
Sue, thank you very much. And that is Wales Today. We'll have a roundup of the day's top stories for you straight after the BBC's 10 o'clock news at around 10:30. But for now, thanks for watching and do have a good evening. Bye-bye.